So I was looking at a couple of articles. Actually, what prompted me to look at these, I was talking to someone about energy density in their food the other day, and they were sort of saying, oh, I'm eating X, Y, and Z. And I was saying to them, well, that's a lot of energy density. You're eating a lot of stuff that's giving you a lot of energy. And I came across an article. I'll just drop it up on the screen now. It's from the George Institute for Global Health. And what these guys do is they look at various food trends and what's actually available in the marketplace for people to consume. And this one's talking about the good old fast food meal combos. Now, we're all familiar with that. We're all familiar with upsizing. We're all familiar with that idea of going down and grabbing a burger and fries and getting a drink as well. So these guys sort of looked at 144 different combinations, and about half the fast food outlets in Australia participated. And what they found was there were some very, very big energy densities in this food. And I'll give a couple of examples. I've got a couple of cheat sheets in front of me here. So I'll name the businesses here because they were named in that article, and I'll put the link to the article down below as well. But the Red Rooster Bacon Cheese Ripper Roll Combo. Now, doesn't that sound like a way to start your day, the Breakfast of Champions?
Yeah. Give me one of those each morning.
Well, mate, that's all you would need for the day, because that combo, so that we're talking about there is a large fries, a caffeinated cola beverage, and the bacon and cheese ripper roll will give you 7,730 kilojoules of your 8,700 a day. Now, that's just short of 90% of your energy in one meal. That is just crazy. And just to top that off a little bit more, you're getting 4,571 milligrams of sodium, which is twice what you need in a day. So that is the big one. Now, if you look at, say, number 2, that's our friends over at Hungry Jack's. They do a Whopper Hunger Tamers meal, and you get 2 burgers, 3 nuggets, fries, and that caffeinated cola beverage, and you get 7,600 kilojoules, or 87% of your RDI. So they're number 1 and 2. They're the big hitters in this category. So when you go through your drive-thru and you're thinking about getting a burger, think about what you're actually consuming and how much of your daily energy is coming into that one simple meal. How much fat and carbohydrate and protein can we put down into a tiny little burger? You know, and let's face it, they're getting smaller and smaller, and we'll talk about that another time as well. So the energy density is really important. And I mean, that's, you know, it's quite obvious when you sort of say, oh yes, burger, fries and Coke, that's not great for you. But I guess the thing I wanted to bring up from that article was they were talking about the plant-based burgers. Now, are you guys familiar with the Beyond Burger or the Impossible Burger? Have you come across these patties made of plant matter?
Vegan. This is for the vegan.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I haven't had one.
No.
No, I mean, from a scientific point of view, they're an absolute triumph. The grilled Beyond Burger is a soy protein isolate and gluten-based burger that actually acts like meat. So when you grill it, it bleeds like a piece of meat does. So this is the incredible thing. Now, Genevieve and I, when we were at uni, we went to uni together years ago and did our final year project, which was on a vegetarian meat analog, oddly enough. And we came to the conclusion that if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you probably don't want something that looks and tastes like meat. But nowadays, after listening to what people are talking about, they're able to recreate to such a level of authenticity that they are able to attract a whole lot of people who necessarily are not making a lifestyle choice through veganism or vegetarianism, but they're looking at it from a health perspective. And this is where I think it all falls over. The plant-based burgers were, per unit, one of the worst performers in this study. You're looking at about 3,094 kilojoules per item for just the burger. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you consider it, it's mainly carbs and the sodium levels are just absolutely astronomical. So I sat down and I did a bit of a calculation. So if you got up in the morning and you did your, say your seeded toast and smashed avo on toast for the morning, that's going to give you about 1,900 kilojoules. Then you might have, say, some brown rice, veggie, and if you want some protein, some tofu in it, that'll give you about 2,000 odd kilojoules. Then you might have a couple of coffees through the day. Say you're going to go and have a cheat and have a couple of Tim Tams. You're looking at then, say, another sort of 1,100, 700. And then you get to the evening, you have a glass of wine, that's about 280. And then your burger, your plant-based burger, which is about 3,000 kilojoules. When you add that up, that's 9,373 kilojoules. Now, if I said to you, oh, I had smashed avo on toast, veggies, rice and tofu and a plant-based burger for my meal for the day, you go, oh, you sound quite healthy. But what you've got there is a one-way ticket to having to open up the belt a little bit further. You're going to put on the pounds because it's going to give you more energy than you can actually expend in a normal day. So that's a very a meager sort of diet. That's not, an extravagant diet by any stretch, and it's still 9,300 kilojoules. So it's enormous.
Lee, can I ask a question there? Can you formulate one with the previous, like the formula that gave you the around about the 9,000 all up? But can you throw in a cinnamon donut with the 2 coffees? and can you change the wine to tequila? And let me know let me know if I'm on track or if I'm off, because I love my cinnamon donuts and tequila. But yeah, that one.
You might do a couple of rounds of shadow boxing for that one, mate.
I mean, I was just going to say too, when you eat those burgers and those sorts of things, the whole thing is that they're so processed and soft. There's a thing, we get triggered, and Lee, you can talk more to this, which is when you chew food, you release a hormone which triggers to you to say, I'm full, I'm satiated, it's satiety, I feel full, and it slows you down. And these things are so easy to eat and consume, and you've just eaten it like that, and then you still feel hungry. So the hormone, Lee.
Absolutely, yeah. So you've got your ghrelin and your leptin, which gives you your hunger and you're feeling full. And if you, as Jen said, it's a physical action. Your brain tags, okay, the jaw muscles are going up and down, so it starts releasing that hormone into your body, and your stomach then feels full. Your brain says, right, that's full, I don't need enough. Now, with fast food, you can either get a lot of that down before the message goes from your brain to your tummy, or, as Jen said, it's so easy to eat. Like, you think about a hamburger bun you get from a fast food outlet, and I've done this with many, many groups. Tear off a piece of it, put it in your mouth. A piece of bread shouldn't dissolve on your tongue. It's as simple as that. So there's more fat and sugar in one of those rolls than there is protein and fiber. And that's because you need to get it down you as quickly as possible because you're driving or you're doing something else or whatever you do when you're eating your fast food. So instead of stopping and eating a meal, that's the whole basis of that meal, is you're eating on the run. So you don't get the same physiological response from your brain to your stomach. So you're driving along, you finish your burger, you chop down, say a thick shake, you're eating your fries, you've consumed 4,000 kilojoules, half your energy for the day, and you get to the end and you think, I have a chocolate milk and some chips in the afternoon, or I could have something, and you just keep adding and adding, and that's where you see this epidemic of obesity. And I mean, I'll do some stuff on the inflammation effects of adipose fat, what it can do, the cytokines. If you come across the word cytokines through COVID stuff or through anything else, the cytokines are things that cause inflammation. They're part of your immune response sometimes. So there's all sorts of things that can go on. But obesity, apart from just the societal prejudice against it, physiologically it's not great for you. But just to put that study in context, sorry, Jen, yeah.
So adipose fat, a lot of people probably won't know what that is. Adipose.
Yeah, so the adipose fat is the brown fat that clings to your organs. It's not the love handles that you get. It's the stuff that's actually inside. So you could be really ripped, have lots of abs, big biceps, but your organs could be covered in this adipose fat if you're eating the wrong type of fats or you're eating the wrong type of diet. So that's the thing that actually gets you. The external fat is really just an exercise in inflating or deflating cells with fat or water. It's the adipose fat inside you that you don't really see, and to actually do a test to determine that is very difficult. You've got to go and have scans and all sorts of things. So yeah, it's a tricky thing, but I mean, the best thing you can do to avoid a buildup of adipose fat, I mean, it's going to be boring. I'm sorry, it's going to be really boring, but it's fiber, vegetables, go for a walk, drink some water, call your mother once a week. Those boring things that we all talk about, so that's all you've really got to do. But I'm just going to say, to put that into a combination, about half the outlets in Australia didn't take part in that study. And the reason they did that is because they didn't have nutritional information available. So, yeah, you turn out your packet, every foodstuff has nutritional information, yet you can pump out the greasiest, sugar-laden, fat-riddled, griddle cake you can want, and you don't need to inform the customer that 2 of these will probably kill them in a week's time. So it's just one of these things that's just incredible. The other thing that I wanted to point out here was that, the 144 combo meals they looked at, 60% exceeded sodium levels.
Yeah.
Now, sodium, flat out, not good for your heart. That's as simple as that, you know. So if you can reduce the sodium levels, increase your potassium levels, you're going to be much better off. Now, out of those 60, 23 of them were from Red Rooster and 18 were from Hungry Jack's. So I can tell you those two businesses have got the loyalty card at the Saxa Salt Company, because they're throwing a hell of a lot of sodium into their food. And that's how you make something taste good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Genevieve and I have done it for years. You put a pinch of salt into products, you wouldn't even think about it. Like, you know, we all heard about putting a pinch of salt into a chocolate bar. But would you be understanding that if I put a pinch of salt into your orange juice, it'd taste sweeter? If I put a pinch of salt into your chocolate milk or your flavored milk, it tastes better. Salt is the cheapest flavor enhancer. Forget monosodium glutamate and all these other flavor enhancers. Salt works. It's cheap, and our brains recognize it. As long as you don't go too big, it's really quite functional and quite useful from a formulation point of view. But the downside is you end up with double your sodium levels going into your food. So, you know, it's not great.
And that's why you have tequila with a bit of salt and lemon.
Well, I've heard tequila negates the whole thing. I was going to say, that's like your cinnamon donut. I was going to say, if you grab your cinnamon donut, break it in half and just tap out the calories.
Yeah. Well, I tried to bake a cake once, and look, back then I thought I was going down the wrong path, but now that after listening to you, Lee, I think I was on the right track, because it was so hard. I actually rolled it down the driveway and it didn't break apart. So going back to your thesis and your analysis of food, I'm thinking, gee, I think I was on the right track here. I was on to something and I didn't even know it.
It sounds like you're trying to weaponize
just to also note, with sodium, as with sugar, with our taste buds, the more you eat of it, the less you are aware of it. You can once you you can sort of cross a particular threshold, more salt and more sugar, you're already sort of maxed out your taste buds, and so you're not even enjoying that extra calories or load of sodium on your body. So there is it's a slippery slope, that one.
Well, I'll give you a good example of that. When the days of yore was a dairy technologist and making yogurt and ice cream and things like that, there was a yogurt that I worked on, and we'll put it this way. Usually, if you exceed 5 to 7% sugar in a formulation, so if you've got 100 grams of whatever the food is and 5% of it is coming from the sugar, that's about as sweet as your palate can take. After that, you're really not getting any extra benefit. You're getting body, you're getting filler, it's a cheap way to make something. This yogurt, which was fat-free, well, it was fat-free, but it was 24.5% sugar. So it was effectively a syrup with some dairy in it. And that's why they could get the body in that tasted great, but it was just all sugar.
That's why some of the foundations in construction, you see they're massive, but they've got no steel inside of them, or very little. And that's why these buildings are falling to pieces.
We'll call it confectionery foundation.
They've got more sugar in there than steel.
Excellent. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. That's been a great conversation today.